Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Schools are open. Parents, guardians, have you prepared your adolescents that are pregnant and mothers for school? The government has given us national guidelines to assist with the responsibility of sending these girls back to school. Let us help to provide them with a safe, productive, and friendly environment for their learning. They are still our children living among us in our communities. Their pregnancies, becoming mothers before adulthood, affects them, their community, and our nation. All children have a right to education. Now, let's take them back to school because completing their primary and secondary school education is very important to their future careers, personal development, and being productive citizens of our nation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Sports, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development.
Hey Ugandans, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dewa Kiki, the Deputy Defense Spokesperson and actually the Deputy Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I was hosted on Alternative Dig Talk. I encourage all Ugandans that this is the way to go. Always watch, participate, give your views and ask questions on Alternative Dig Talk. Dig Talk, the way to go.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Era nga bw'olabye ensonga eyo olugiwulidde bima ne babijjako okugezaako okututiisatiisa neyosi avunaanyizibwa ku kitundu kino ne bamuleeta paka ne wetubadde olw'obwadde nga amaze n'afulumamu. Wekitiibwa omulamuzi tusaba tukyusibwe ekomera tuddiwe ekigo tutwalibwe mu kkomera eddala. Wekitiibwa ne weniraabeera ku nsalo ya Uganda tujja kuwulira emirembe kuba wano tetukyawulira bulungi. Emmere gye tulya katujekengera tusuuzibwa bubi. Owekitiibwa tutuuzibwa mu bitaka kati buli ku makya tukeera kutuuzibwa mu bitaka wansi ku ttaka tetumanyi ensonga lwaki okuva kwa judgment yasembayo. Kino tubadde tukyogerangako eri kkooti era nga tubadde tuwulira bulungi nga tukyatambuza mu misango gyaffe ne baloya baffe tusobole okuva mu makomera. Naye ate n'embeera bwetuuka ng'etujjidde mu kkomera embi bwetyo nga ne mu kkooti mwe tubeera batandise kutwetoolooza amamundu nga n'ebyuma babijja kkooti owekitiibwa omulamuzi bwe bali bankwata nga bantwala mu kkomera tebankuba ne waliwo emmere yajjawo wano ne bankuba mu mutwe owekitiibwa omulamuzi. So amaziga mpulira gannyunguka. Ekisookera ddala owekitiibwa omulamuzi sina musango bwe nazza yadde ebituvunaano byabufuzi ensi yonna ekimanyi era olaba ne siteeti bwajja tasobola kugamba nti obujulizi buli complete kubanga akimanyi obujulizi talina byagenda bujja ate omuntu ekintu kyatalimu obujulizi oba ogenda kubujjawa era tusaba obwekitiibwa omulamuzi singa kisoboka obadde oyisa warrant of arrest eri state n'akwatibwa olw'okubeera nga buli wajja abuzaabuza kooti nti anoonyereza naye nga byagamba nti anoonyereza.
Words of Segirinya Mohammed, who is the Member of Parliament of Kawempe North Constituency, and Mr. Sewanyana Alan, who is the Honorable Legislator of Makindye West Constituency. Those are their words. Sina chenyo olunaku lw'eggulo balabikiddeko wali mu kooti okubanga abaweremba n'emisango gyabwe gyabateekako okuliko ogw'obutujju, ogw'okusasula obutujju oba kibayita baiting terrorism, ogw'okutta n'ogwa attempted murder. Ladies and gentlemen, banniza ku this show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. You're watching The Mighty Drive. Tubeerawo buli lunaku Monday to Friday okuva ku ssaawa emu ez'okumakya paka ku ssaawa 3 ez'okumakya nga tunyumamu emboozi nammwe. Tutandise n'abo ababaka nga balojja ekigenda mu maaso mu bulamu bwabwe, ekigenda mu maaso wali mu komera ekigo n'ekigenda mu maaso mu musango gwabwe. Nga bwe mbawulidde saagala kuddamu bigambo byabwe, omwami Sewanyana agambye nti embeera gye bayitamu si nnungi, bakeera kutuuzibwa mu bitaka, batuuse n'okuba nga beekengera ebyokulya bye balya. Mu ngeri eyo tugamba Munnayuganda yeetaaga okuba nga ayisibwa bw'atyo. Ffe nga bannamawulire tetulina kyakukola, tulina kwogera bwogezi ku nsonga zino, bwe tuzoogerako abavunaanyizibwa ku nsonga ezo zennyini ne basobola okuba nga bakolako kye basobola okuba nga bakola. Ye omwami Segirinya ayogedde ku obulwadde bw'ayitamu n'agamba nti nno n'omusango guno gwetaaga okuba nga gugobebwa oba ne state prosecutor yennyini abe nga akwatibwa. Ng'agamba ono omwami ebintu emisango gy'abajwetekako atalina bujulizi bwagyo ate kirabikanga obujulizi obutagenda kubanga bujja kubanga paka ssaawa zino tewali bujulizi bwateereddwawo ku musango gwa Sewanyana ne Segirinya ogw'obutujju. Nno gino emisango gye muwulira agiba misango minene. Sewanyana ne Segirinya bataata, babaka b'abantu, baweereza b'abantu, batabani b'abantu, era ndooza tutuuke tusobole okuba nga tufuna kye bayita consensus okulaba engeri gye tusobola okuba nga tugenda mu maaso. Mbaniriza buli omu wonna wondabira mu abandabira mambuka ga Uganda, twogera ku bifo nga Lira, Gulu, Ajumani, Arua, Moroto, wonna mwebale kubanga mwekumidde ku The Alternative Dig Talk. Then mu abatulabira wano mu Central Buganda, twogera ku places nga Masaka, twogera ku places nga Kampala, twogera ku Entebbe, mwenna abali tuned. Namwe abali West kubanga nkimanyi bangi nnyo abatulabira eyo. Mulimu omwami Innocent Ainebyona okuva wali Erwengo, tulinamu omwami Tekato Tumusiime okuva Embarara, na buli omu yonna gye mutulabira. Nammwe aba Eastern temugamba abaluma sabambeera bide, people of Bigisu, people of Kapchorwa, people of Mbale, people of Bukedia, mwenna. Thank you so much for watching The Mighty Drive. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. Okubanga nkuweereza ku kamera leero tulina omukyala Nita Jury, Nita Musimenta, nze nnyo okumuyita Nita Jury naye Nita Musimenta. Tulina Teddy Tenjo nabukeera nga producer wange buli lunaku, Arnold Mukose Anthony mwali mu kizimbe nga programs director, ne eHoima Mukiibi mwali okubanga akola ogw'okudirectinga ogwa wano ne wali. Rogers Tuliaha bagenda kubanga atwegattako n'omukyala Lilian Nuwedde later on in the show kubanga tugenda kubeera n'omwami yagezaako okwesimbawo kuba member of parliament mu kifo kiri kye bayita Bugahya county in western part of Uganda. Erinnya lye excuse me yes tugenda kubeera n'omwami oyo Musinguzi Patrick agenda kubanga atwegattako tunyumemu emboozi olunaku olwale ku program The Mighty Drive. Munzikirize nyingireko mu mawulire ntandise ne story eya Sewanyana ne Segirinya kubanga olunaku lw'eggulo balabiseeko maaso ga kooti ku nkola eri eya Zoom ey'okubeera nga oli ku computer nga mulala mu kooti batya giyita Zoom. Yenkola eriwo ennaku zino okubanga atwewala ebintu bya COVID-19 n'okubanga omuntu osobola okuba nga omutryingira wonna w'abaali. Olunaku lw'eggulo balabiseeko ne bayogera ku bye bayitamu ne bagamba mbu beetaaga guno omusango gube nga gugobebwa. Jjukira omusango guno in fact bakamala kati ndoozi emyezi gigenda kunukkiriza mu myezi nga 5 nga bali mabega wa mitayimba ne Christmas nno Ssekukkulu abagiriira mabega wa mitayimba omwami Segirinya Mohammed n'omwami Sewanyana Alan. Era mu regard eyo yennyini twalabanga bakansila okuva wali e Kawempe baali beekalakaasa nga bagamba beetaaga omubaka waabwe nga afuluma kubanga emirimu tegikyatambula mu constituency. Omubaka yali atambuza emirimu takyaliwo. Ndowooza mwalabako ne ku story eyatambulako nti ne ambulance na buli kimu omwami n'eddwaliro ery'omwami Sseginya terikyakola. Ambulance tekyakola kuba tekyalina mafuta. Byonna byali bitambulira ku mwami Sseginya Mohammed. So abadde basaba omusango guno gubenga gugobebwa babenga babata bagende balabe ku famile zaabwe oba bawerembe n'emisango gino nga bava wabweru. Basimbayo kubawa bail kooti yagibawa mu bulungi naye abalina okuba nga bajja enforcinga ate bennyini be bagibreakinga kuba twalabanga bakafulumayo bati mu kkomera ne batwalibwa abasajja abali mu mmotoka ezaakazibwako erinnya erya drone wano mu Kampala. Emmotoka nno wooziraba oba toyagala kuddamu kulaba kintu kirala because it's one of the worst things you can ever see or meet. So ladies and gentlemen, kyekyo kigenda maaso mu misango gy'ababaka bammwe Ssewanyana ne Ssegirinnya. Tugendeko ku free COVID vaccination egenda maaso wali ku border. Jukira, there has been a challenge of fuel in the country right about now. Nti amafuta gawedde mu ggwanga ne by the way ne mu reserves mu fuel reserves mu ggwanga lino lizina temukyalimu na mafuta. There is no fuel at all. So tubadde tulina ekizibu amafuta gatuuse n'okubanga geeyongera okutuuka ku ssente ezikunukkiriza mu mutwalo. That is 100% and more increment kubanga tubadde tugagula 3,900 oluusi 10,400 10,400 naye we gagendera ddala ne gatuuka mu nusu kanaana kenda mutwalo mu bifo nga eHoima ekiri so ironical because eHoima is the oil city in this country naye ate amafuta ne gabanga gambuse paka ku mutwalo gumu 12,000. So kyekyo kibadde kigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga naye we twogeranga bitandise okubanga biddawo mu nteeka oba it has started to settle down kubanga batandise free COVID-19 testing wali ku border. So buli driver abayingira mu ggwanga bamutestinga bulungi era bamala mu testinga n'ayisaawo ebyamaguzi n'abireeta mu ggwanga. Luli ekyali ekizibu ba truck drivers baali batandise okwekalakasa nga bagamba bagibwako ensimbi nnyingi mu kubanga babakebera akalwadde kano aka lumiimamawuggwe ng'ate bagenda okusiimula Mombasa mu Nairobi ng'olede baba testinze dda naye nga tewe batuuka ku border point Busia ne Malaba batandika okubanga babeekwasa nti mwetaaga okubanga muddamu COVID-19 test. Jukira abantu bangi bali bagamba mbuno COVID-19 tests ezigenda maaso ku border point ezisinga mulimu abazifunamu waliwo abantu bannannyini kampuni ezo ezitestinga ate babasaba ssente nnyingi dola zaali 30 wadde ne bazisala ne baziza ku 25 naye era ne ku 25 dollars zikyali nnyingi. There are countries that are testing people at $1. So mu ngeri eyo abasajja bano basazeewo nti nowanyi katutandika okukola emirimu gyaffe kubanga kati gavumenti through the president kuba president yayisize ekigambo ekyo ekyokubanga omwami oyo ekyokubanga abantu bano abaami bano ba truck drivers babenga babatestingira ku bwerere nga tebasasudde yadde 10 kyonna. So amafuta gatandise okubanga gayingira mu ggwanga naye kyewuunyisa nti amafuta ga bbeeyi wano mu urban centers mu Kampala oba n'emiriraano naye ogenda mu byalo ate amafuta gadde gakyali ku ssente za bulijjo 3,900 4,000. So ne twebuuza what is the irony there. Tujja kufunayo lumu oil and gas expert ajja tunyonyolemu how can it be mu urban centers muno amafuta go gakyali waggulu nnyo naye ate wogenda mu byalo ate olaba nti amafuta go ga stabilizing dda naye nga ate ne fuel trucks zeyongedde okubanga ziyingira eggwanga. So tubeere bakakkamu amafuta gajja kubanga gatereera tukiwemu akadde emmotoka zitandika okubanga zonna zituukira ddala. Omujjukira waliwo jamu wali ku border jamu nga ali stretching as far as 80 kilometers. 80 kilometers bannange ziba distance mpanvu nnyo right about ndoza mugiraba kilomita nga 8 nga zonna trucks ziri awo zigaba bannange twetaaga okubanga tukebererwa tutwale ebyamaguzi by'Abannayuganda. Eddakiika zizo ziri 14 zezakayita ku ssaawa emu ey'okumakya. Waliyo nno omupoliisi emyaka 56 agambibwa okubanga yasobezza ku suspect nga wonaasiba suspect naye omala okumusiba ate n'omusobyako oba yahaviza sex naye. So naye batandise okubanga bamunoonyerezaako biki ebyo by'abaakola. Then Uganda Human Rights Commission bagenze ne basooka bakebera ku mwami Kakwenza Rukira Baseijjo nonno bigambo bingi ebyogerebwa mbuno yatulugunyizibwa abakuuma ddembe nga bamuteekako omusango gwa kubanga yatawaanya emirembe gy'omukulembeze w'eggwanga ne mutabani we Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Bingi nno ebyamukolebwako accordingly naye ate tubadde tetunabikakasa. So Human Rights Commission olunaku lweggulo yabaddeyo wali ekigo ng'emukeberako okulaba ali atya. Yasoose ne batugamba mbuno ali okay era ne batwitinga ku mukutu gwabwe nti omwami Kakwenza ali bulungi. Naye ate wayiseewo ddakiika ntono tweet ne bagijjayo kati ne twebuuza amazima ge galiwa. Kakwenza ali bulungi oba tali bulungi? Kubanga kati oba otaddeyo Twitter oba Twitter post ate n'omala n'ogijjayo oluusi naffe kiba kitusobera tuba tuwewuunya kati ki ekiddako mukama wange. What is the truth? Is Kakwenza okay or is not okay? Ate abantu bangi nno badde bagamba mbu the Uganda Human Rights Commission eri a bit compromised. Bantu bangi bagamba mbu no tekyali ku mulamwa gwennyini ssemateeka gwegiwa omulamwa gw'okutambula n'onoonyereza ku abantu oba ku bintu ebi degrading the human rights oba eddembe ly'obuntu. Abantu bonna bakola buli kimu kye basobola okuba nga bamalawo eddembe ly'obuntu. Uganda Human Rights Commission erina kuba nga ebanoonyerezaako okuba nga efuna the right facts okuba nga eba prosecuting okuba nga efuna justice for the victims ababa bali victimized by the human rights abuses. So mu ngeri eyo baami bano batugambye omwami Kakwenza ali bulungi naye tetukakasa kubanga ate bamaze ne bajjayo Twitter post eyo egamba nti Kakwenza ali bulungi. So ekyo kyekigenda mu maaso right about now. Tugende kuwona Makerere. Njoza mujjukire Makerere waliyo ekizibu mukatanga ekizibu ky'ettaka. Ekizibu ekyo nno kyaleetako n'omwami MP wa Kawempe South Kazibwe Bashir okubanga asibibwa n'omusanga akyawera ennemba najo ejja ettaka ly'ekatanga eyo kubanga yali agezaako okubanga alwanirira abantu baawo. So mu ngeri eyo nabo abantu bavuddeyo ne bagamba bannange mutuyambe ettaka lino ery'ekatanga. Ekifaananyi ekyo kya Muluuli mbadde bafuna ekifaananyi kya Katanga olwalaga ettaka eryo lyetwogerako abantu b'e Makerere lye bali mu kukaayanirako ery'ettaka litudde nno ku obwegazi bunene nnyo. It's a huge chunks of land. Bangi nnyo balikaayanira. Abantu b'e Katanga bagamba mbu ettaka lino lyabwe ate tebasobola kubagobako ng'ate tebawadde oba tebalina ngeri gye babakompensatinzeemu mu ngeri eyo. Naye ate bo baganira bo abagamba mu be bannannyini ttaka bagamba tebagenda kubanga bakompensatinga bagamba ettaka lyabwe tebalina kubanga bakompensatinga omuntu ku ttaka eryabwe. So abantu b'e Katanga bavuddeyo ne basaba gavumenti ebayambe ettaka lyabwe bali bagobako bafune engeri gye babayamba mu kubanga ebintu bye bayitamu si birungi kuba bo tebalina bibadde ate era ne weebuuza where should they go? They have been squatters on this land for a long time. So if you're a squatter in that land bagamba when you stay on land for a long time emyaka egikunukiriza mu 12 ettaka liba lifuuse liryo kubanga kati omuntu wabalidde emyaka 12 ng'ali ku ttaka eryo nga tojjangako kulikima oba tolina right maybe oba ogenda kumwevictinga oba olina okubanga olina ky'omuwaayoko naye aveewo ng'avuddewo mu mutima mulungi. Ndowooza nga mmaliriza waliyo embalira ya gavumenti oba gye bayita budget framework ebadde erina okuba nga efulumizibwa ey'obuwumbi obutabalika trillions 43 ye budget yaffe. Budget framework gye babadde bategese aba Ministry of Finance engeri ebyo budget framework oba kiyite mbalirira gye batannaba kuyisa budget gye baba tebannaba kuyisa bagita budget framework eraga nti sente zino zigenda wano zino endala zijja genda wano zino endala zijja genda wano. Jjukira mu 43 trillion mwe baasabira obuwumbi 891 obwa president obwa state house mwe baasabira sente z'okusasula amabanja mwe muli sente za abaana bintu bingi budget yonna budget framework. So budget framework eno yagobeddwa parliament nga bagamba tebannaba kubanga bagikkiririzaamu yeetaaga okuba nga etereezebwa mulimu ebikyabulamu mulimu sente eziri allocated in the wrong places. Waliyo sente nga zibaalocatinze tezeetaaga kubanga ziri awo. So basaba Ministry of Finance eddeyo esooke yeekkaanye budget framework yaabwe bakole proper prioritization proper budgeting balyoke bagikomyewo parliament esobole okuba nga egiyisa. Jjukira parliament wetagiyisa omwaka gw'ensimbi tuba tetugenda kufuna sente ezo bwe mba ndowooza naye ate muba mulina okuba nga maybe priorities tuzifunye right, because waliwo ebintu bye prioritizing oluusi nga tebyetaaga ku prioritizinga nga twetaaga ate tu prioritizing ebirala ebinayamba mu bino ebirala. So mu ngeri eyo parliament yo yagobye eno budget framework ey'obutabalika oba trillions 43 ezabadde zisabiddwa Ministry of Finance okubanga bategekera omwaka gw'ebyensimbi ogwa 2022-2023. Ye Minister Wilson Muruli Mukasa, Minister wa Public Service, yagenda okubanga akolanga Minister wa Constitutional Affairs for a while. Juka tuwa Ministry ya Constitutional Affairs yali ya omwami Kahindo Tafire paka sawa zino ebadde teina kyosobola kugamba nti oba they have a minister wadde tebalina mukulembeze. So President Museveni appointinze Muruli Mukasa abenga agezaako okubanga atambuza emirimu. Ekifaananyi ekyo mbadde nsaba bakikubalageko eky'omwami Wilson Muruli Mukasa mu mulabe yagenda okubanga akwanaganya ministry ya Constitutional Affairs. Omwami yoyo Minister Wilson Muruli Mukasa yagenda okubanga akwasaganya kino ministry ya Constitutional Affairs. Amawulire nno mangi jo twalabye AFCON Nigeria yakubye tiimu eno eya Guinea Bissau goals za 2 ku bwereere. Nno Nigeria eraza amaanyi mu ngeri nti olaba balese second 11 gye balese yeyo yennyini eyazze neekuba omupiira guno ate yagukubye bulungi. So kikulaga nti Nigeria empaka zino ezeetegekedde. Egypt naye yayiseemu yawangudde omupiira gwayo gadde goal emu ku bwereere eyateebeddwawo. Obusajja bano bakyunyiza tiimu ya Sudan. So Egypt yayiseemu ne Nigeria. Tugenda kuba nga tulinda tulabe round of 16 eddako kiki ekigenda mu maaso, tiimu zigenda kwekwata zitya. Byonna nja kuba mbikubuulya wano ku program The Mighty Drive wano ku mukutu ogwa The Alternative Digital. Munzikirize nkome wano kubanga amawulire go gaba mangi naye tetusobola kubanga tugamalayo. Gye tuba tubawadde gaba tulowooza nti gajja kumala okujjako traffic officer gwe baakuba essasi. Omujjukira story gye nabawe ya UPDF omwami abannamagye abaakuba owa traffic essasi mu kugulu. Owa traffic oyo bambi okugulu baakusazeeko. Okugulu kw'omwami oyo baakusazeeko, omuzungu kyayita amputated. Baamuggyeko okugulu, agenda kumala obulamu bwe bwonna ng'alina okugulu kumu kubanga waliwo munnamagye oba mukwata mmundu eyawulira nti ye mu kifo ky'okuyimiriza emmotoka etwala mu kifo ky'okuyimiriza breakdown weetaaga kukuba masasi. So abakuuma ddembe, abakwata mmundu, bino ebintu njagala munammwe mubyetegerezeeko. Mumanye mbu ebintu bye mukola bi affecting obulamu bw'Abannayuganda. Kyovula olunaku lwayo tetuli basanyufu. And abantu abasinga bagamba oluusi nammwe bannamawulire temubeera neutral. How can I be neutral in a story like that one? How? Okutte, okubye essasi, olikubye munnayuganda ali ku mulimu gwe. Kubanga ye nga traffic officer ogwo gwe mulimu gwe. Kyekinnya kyawo wokola accident alina kukwata mmotoka agitwale ku police. She's doing or he's doing the right thing. Gw'omukubye essasi okugulu bakusazeeko tekusobola kuddawo ne weebuuza bannange bano abakuuma ddembe baabayigiririze where were they trained? Really. Omusajja agenda sigala n'okugulu ku bannange amawulire gakomyawo. Katuwumuleko Rogers Tulyahabwe ne Lilian Luwedde webali okuba nga bakwongera yamanyaza Edgar Matthew Karuhanga.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Nze omubejja luwedde Lilian mbaniriza maka gaffe amajja era nga wano tugenda okuba nga tukolera programu yaffe emanyiddwa nga The Voltage gaba masannyalaze gennyini era nga twogera ku bintu eby'enjawulo omwo nno mwe muli ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga, ensonga z'ebyobufuzi n'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga Uganda, twogera ku nsonga ez'abavubuka, eddembe ly'obuntu awamu n'ebyenkulaakulana. Togisubwa buli lunaku olwokutaano eba ssaawa emu ey'akawungeezi paka ssaawa 3 ez'ekiro.
The Diaspora Link buli lwakuna ssaawa 11 paka ssaawa 1 ey'olweggulo ye program gye tukuleetedde wano ku Alternative Digital Uganda. Tugenda batutunulira embeera z'Abannayuganda, baganda baffe, bannyinaffe zibawangaaliramu mu mawanga ag'ebunaayira. Bangi banyigirizibwa, bangi bakosebwa, bangi bayisiddwamu amaaso. Naye tugenda batutunulira engeri gye tusobola okulongosaamu embeera zaabwe. Tugenda kuba tulaba abo abakwatibwako abateekeddwa okuba nga balongoosa embeera zino eno. Tosubwa buli lwakuna n'omuweerezaawo Nixon Segawa.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdulatif and I welcome you to the Hotline Show here at the Alternative Digital as we discuss issues of national importance. Join us every Monday 7 to 9 p.m. and see who will be occupying these seats here with us. Keep it Digital, real issues, real talk.
Schools are open. Parents, guardians, have you prepared your adolescents that are pregnant and mothers for school? The government has given us national guidelines to assist with the responsibility of sending these girls back to school. Let us help to provide them with a safe, productive and friendly environment for their learning. They are still our children living among us in our communities. Their pregnancies, becoming mothers before adulthood, affects them, their community and our nation. All children have a right to education. Now, let's take them back to school because completing their primary and secondary school education is very important to their future careers, personal development and being productive citizens of our nation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Sports, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development.
Alternative Digital. Real issues, real talk.
Today the date is January in the year 2022. I like to mention that we have a new year every time I appear here for reasons that it's a fresh year. If we have our resolutions, if we have goals that we intend to achieve, we are aging day by day. Every new year, we are excited that we have a new year, but we're also aging. So it means that if we have goals we need to achieve, if we have families we are looking forward to getting, or we have families that we need to look up to or to make, now is the time that we have to, to plan and put things straight in line. But my name is Reza Suriabo. Today I'm glad to be here and privileged to be presenting to you and doing my work as a Ugandan and as a citizen. Edgar Matthew gave us updates earlier, and I think I also want to thank him basically because it's also important that every time that we wake up and come here, we know exactly what is going on in and around us. And if, if there are government new policies, what do we need to do? What do we need to know? If we need to look at how we are growing, we also need to know the trends of things that are happening around us. But I'm not alone today. I have Lillian Lowede, who's going to greet us, and then we'll have a guest. He's still on the way, Mr. Patrick Musinguzi, who is a former aspirant of Bugahia constituency, which is in eHoima district. He lost to his friend, I want to assume, Mr. Pius Wakabi. That gentleman, they were both from NRM, but one of them, lost to the other. And this, in this case, happens to be Patrick Musinguzi. He's going to be joining us. He's going to tell us what exactly were his ideas. He's belonging to the NRM also because they said they were securing a future, and his decision to join as an NRM candidate, was it informed by the fact that NRM would be providing enough resources for him to move the masses, or because he believes in the ideology of the NRM to begin with? And looking at the fact that they wanted to secure the future, I was looking through the manifesto of the NRM. They intend to secure the future. How is that coming through? Because when you look at the trends happening around us, every year, we lose about 20 trillion Uganda shillings to corruption. And when you look at NRM that wants to secure people's future, in their 10-point program, elimination of corruption and overstaying in power, it's called elimination of corruption and misuse of power. It was their 7th point in the 10-point program. I want him to talk to us about how that is coming through, because, it's a part of accountability. As a person who is also looking at NRM as his choice, he should be knowing that this is actually going on. So how far are they going and how much has they achieved in their 10-point program? I don't want to say much. I'll invite Lillian to say hello and to tell us how she is faring. Lillian.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Rogers?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good.
Say hello to our people.
I don't want to add a lot, but I'm okay. Good morning, our viewers. Thank you so much for watching The Mighty Drive. Thank you so much for waking up with us every day, every morning.
Feel free to also speak some Luganda.
Okay. Ndero banesaze ongende mu luzungu Rogers abyonoona. Nemwasuze mutya abatula abamikwano mwe bali nnyo kubanga ate mutwekomiddeko The Mighty Drive bye program gyoli mukulaba nze omumbejja luwedde Lillian era nga nkutegeeza nti n'olwaleero twagguse dda okulaba nga ate twongera okwogera ku nsonga nga bwe zibadde zitambula mu ggwanga erya Uganda. Olwaleero tulina omwami Musinguzi Patrick eyagenda kubanga atwegattako akajjamu kabadde kamukuttemuko wano nawali naye agenda kubanga atwegattako mu ddakiika ntono nnyo ate twongere okwogera ku nsonga ezikwatagana ku ggwanga erya Uganda era na bingi nnyo bye tugenda okubanga twogerako. Ono munnakibiina kya NRM, so ate nga munnange teyasobola kubanga ayitamu munnange kamyufu kagenda okuggwa ndowooza nga awanduse naye nga agenda kubanga atwegattako olwaleero tugenda kubanga tutogera ku nsonga nnyingi nnyo zosobola okubanga ate naawe obeera kitundutundu kozo genda tuterevu ku Facebook page yaffe The Alternative Uganda. Teekayo ekibuuzo oba teekayo kikyolowooza ku bigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga oba kyewali agadde mwami Musinguzi ate ayogereko olwaleero munnange tujja kubanga ate tumutegeeza obubaka bugenda kubanga bumutuukako ensonga zino azogereko nga mmwe bwe munaaba muzisabye okubanga azogerako. Tuli live era nga nkutegeeza nti gwe munnange tunoonya ku YouTube kwe tuli nnyo tuli The Alternative Uganda naye nga ate tetuli live mu kadde kano program ojja kubanga ate ogifuna mu ddakiika ntono nnyo ffe we tunaasiibulira ate eri ejja kubanga ate naawe osobola okubanga ogifuna ku YouTube. So genda subscribe nga ku channel yaffe obeere nga gwe omu ku bannamukisa abasooka okuba nti balaba videos eziteekebwayo. Shows tulina nnyingi nnyo ezotasaanidde kubeera nga osubwa ku Twitter kwe tuli The Alternative Uganda, so nga ate ne ku Instagram osobola okutufuna nga ate onoonyeza The Alternative Uganda. Rogers, sinnategeera kasimayiro kavaawa ku makya kuno.
We are trying to be positive. It's a happy day, it's a new day. I don't want to begin it on a sad note.
Okay.
But there's some science that says that every time you smile, the negative energy usually doesn't go up. So you kind of bring along the positive energy. Even people around you, when you have a gloomy face, obviously someone is not really going to feel the best. But when you smile, maybe it makes their day better.
So, I gloomy face.
I know what simulated, but the problem is it doesn't affect that person alone.
Yeah.
It affects even the people around them. So I smile. Okay. Yeah. But you're welcome today, Lilian.
Thank you.
We have a gentleman that comes from the NRM. And I don't want to preempt his discussion because he's going to be coming here and we'll be asking him questions anyway. But from the updates that Edgar is giving, he also mentions a police office, a UPDF guy who shot a traffic police officer, apparently for stopping him. I don't know, are there people in Uganda who are above the law? Like, you know, someone is to some extent exempt from the law being applied onto them? I'm
thinking, waliwo akabinja k'abantu who think that they are above the law. That is what I'm thinking. These people, ne baba bakoze emisango, for them they think nti etteeka teribakwatako, they can do anything, bo kye bawulira kye baagala. Because wotunulira omwami ono engeri gye yakubwamu essasi, it was something small, kubayimiriza, okiwulidde. Because when I go story gye nasomako nga eraga nti oba baali bakoze akabenje somewhere, so nagezaako okubayimiriza n'abagamba emmotoka eno tugitwale wano bwe wati ne bwe wati. Naye ng'ate bo tebakkiriziganya naye okuba nti emmotoka eyo bagitwala mu kifo ekyo. So ndowooza ne wabeerawo kusikamu omuguwa nti bano baagala badde eno ye ayagala bagitwale side endala. So ndowooza mu butakkaanya awo oli naakola ki shooting. But I'm thinking just kabinja kali awo ko kalowooza they above the law nti betteeka teribakwa bo bali waggulu w'amateeka okusingako ndowooza ku bannayuganda abalala.
So ekitegeeza oli yali akola okukwasa amateeka. And you know, usually police has those, how they measure, you overdrive, you overdo this and that. They are allowed to take your car somewhere for you to first answer to the charges. So these people assumed they didn't, was the contestation about whether they broke the law or not, or whether their car should actually be taken somewhere to face the law. So I don't understand. So what I don't understand is we have people who apparently, because now the people think they're above the law, akakabinja kogamba, most of them are the people who are actually in government.
Yeah.
Now, being in government ordinarily means that you understand how it works, you understand the work of the institutions, you understand that there are mechanisms each institution goes through to make sure that they deliver their mandate to the people. But then you are the same people who, you know, violate the mandates of each of those institutions. So what does that speak to the ordinary people? If those who are in the law, who should be implementing the law, are actually doing the opposite, how do we even, the other people, those of us who don't really understand how these things work, how do we even go about it?
Boba na Uganda bali bebana amanyi mu Uganda lwa abamu abagamba bawaliwo enjogeremu egamba nti tulina abaana n'ebyana. So the bana are the ones above the law, so the byana nti ye bwazze omusange n'enkwata gye bamukwatamu yennyini ogiraba nti yanjawuloko ku nkwata oli gye bakola ki gye bamukwatamu. So bannayuganda balabira ddala nti ali mu nsi naye nga bankireete ntya nti ali mu nsi naye nga alabira ddala nti alinga ataliimu mwali mu nsi, yes, naye alinga nga ataliimu because abatabalibwanga munnansi nti ne bwe kiba nti mulimu ebintu ebyetaaga okuteesebwako byetaaga okukolebwa eddoboozi lye teri consideringibwa tebamuconsultingako because otunula ebintu ebimu ebizizenga bikolebwa nti bagenda kwebuuza ku bannayuganda baga ffe tebatwebuuzaako nga bakola ki nga bakola ebintu bino. So you wonder munnayuganda akyalimu mu nsi ye kwegamba akyatwala nti kati eno Uganda yange oba alimu bubeezi naye nga in actual sense abalibwanga ataliimu.
And that was one of the points that that goes back to the issue of democracy generally. It is the first point of the 10-point programs, the NRM, which is one thing I also wanted to ask this gentleman. So ordinarily in a democratic world, the institutions are working independently. Every one institution is doing their mandates, and none of the other is interfering with the work of another institution.
Yeah.
And then the people are at the center of decision making. That means in consultation. Now, Botubanga, the ruling party is also has democracy as one of their major points that they are focusing on. And then we have laws that are being passed every now and then. The people are not consulted. Everything that happens is apparently order from above.
Yeah.
How do we engage the people? How do we even move from here to there?
Yesterday mwami yatugambye buli wetuwulira above ge mateeka.
Kati orders ziva mateeka. I want to disagree with that gentleman on that note, because the above, there's been we have also all come to believe that there's an above. There's the law and there's an above. Ordinarily, he's right. The above should be the law, because the law should be giving us the direction that we should be taking. But we also have the above that is not the law. So, fetukola tutyo kubanga orders ziva above zivera mateeka. How do we even make the law the above, as he says anyway? Actually,
twafuna ekizibu kinali government individualizing each and everything.
Yeah.
Nti oli bwafuna oba bwafuna office oba bwafuna ekitongole oba kyakulira. That person thinks that this is mine. Buli kimwe ekiddako kyange kina like ekitongole ekyo kina kutambulira ku nze. Nti byonna byonna ebikolebwa nze nyina okuwa orders ezikola ki ezisema, and that is not how the country is supposed to be run. Ekyo kyennyini kituzza emabega. Nti individualizing each and everything as a country kitukosa, of which some people don't, I think they don't understand it kino engeri gye kitukosaamu ng'eggwanga, because decisions ezaalibadde zikolebwa ezaalibadde ziyamba oba ezaalibadde zitwala eggwanga maaso tezijja kukolebwa olw'ensonga nti buli kimu kyetooloolidde ku muntu omu.
So the decision that would eyinza okunyiga omuntu omu teyinza kupassinga ne weba in favor of the majority. It cannot. So it means that the people for more than over 45
million Ugandans.
Let's say 35 of them would actually benefit from a certain policy. But because that policy a few people, that law is not going to pass.
Yeah.
So, Febana Uganda to take a dua, ani afuge gwanga.
So, ebintu ebisinga kati ndowooza olaba engeri gye bikolebwamu nti ekintu oba etteeka lisobola okukyusibwa nga lifavoringa omuntu omu naye ng'ate bano abalala abaliganyuddwamu bo tebatunuuliddwa mu nsonga ezimu. So bannayuganda ndowooza gwe ke kaseera bazibuke amaaso bamanye nti bwe tuba tugenda kulonda tulonda ani, because bannayuganda abamu balonda omuntu abasanyusizza, omuntu abawa ku ssente, omuntu akola ki, but beerabira nti omuntu ono agenda alina okubakiikirira okubateeseza ensonga zaabwe ezibaluma emyaka 5. So emyaka 5 omuntu wabanga akaluluke oba ngambe ntya nti akaluluke takawadde kitiibwa, ajja kusasulira ekiseera ekyo oba ajja kusasulira akalulu ako katawadde kitiibwa n'omuntu oli gwataddeyo mu parliament atagenda kola ki, atagenda mukolera nga bwe yali, because bannayuganda bangi beemulugunya nti tulonda abantu bano, tulonda ababaka bano naye tebakomawo, twagala tubabuulire ensonga bazitwale mu parliament bazitebolinge naye tetubalaba, ne ku kitundu tetukyabalaba, ne we yali abeera yasengukawo. So bannayuganda abafuna ssente mu biseera by'akalulu bannayemweddeko omanya nti akasente kano kaakuwa munnange obinatuuka mu maaso jakasasulira, because wanaamala okukakuwa ojja kuba tokyasobola muga nti munnange ate ewaffe eddwaliro ly'egini terikyalimu ddagala. Bwe yakwawula n'okola kino kivaamu. Nalabako omubaka omu ku TV emu nga annyonnyola engeri gye yagulamu kaadi, ssente ze yakozesa ng'agula kaadi y'ekibiina, bw'amala okugula kaadi ssente ze yakozesa mu balonzi ng'anoonya akalulu. So agenda okubalabalamu nga ssente empitirivu, because waliwo political party emu nti waliwo ekigambibwa nti kaadi abamu baagulanga ngula ate nga bazigula ku ssente empitirivu. So n'abala ssente ze yagulamu kaadi n'abala ssente ze yateeka mu balonzi. Bw'alaba nga ssente ezo nnyingi agamba butuufu ssente ze zirina okudda business nali investingamu, so kati kaseera nange nsooke nkole
naye ekizibu ekyo kiri ku side y'abantu oba y'abakulembeze?
Abakulembeze balina omulimu gwe balina okukola ng'abakulembeze, of which tegukoleddwa. ate tulina akakiiko k'ebyokulonda akayina okulaba nti kamanyisa abantu ku biki bye balina okuba nga bakola bwe kituuka ku kiseera ky'akalulu okulonda olonda kiki ky'otunuulira ng'ogenda okulonda ate ng'akakiiko ako tekakoze mulimu gumala kusobola kulaba nti bategeeza abantu nti bwe kituuka ku kulonda mulina kukola bwe muti ne bwe muti okulonda kyekino okulonda kyekiri so ekyo kireetedde bannayuganda okuba nti bwe batuuka okulonda tebamanyi kye bazzaako ye alonda bulonzi kyasiimye oba alonda bulonzi kuba nti ali excited oba alonda bulonzi kuba nti omuntu ono amukola ki amumanyi naye ng'ate takoze ki kyalina kukola oba tategedde nti ekinondesa omuntu ono y'ensonga gundi ne gundi so akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kalina omulimu munene nnyo gwe kalina okuba nga ate kakola okusobola okulaba nti bannayuganda oba oliawo tebakola nsobi bwe kituuka ku nsonga z'ebyokulonda era nga nze guno munanga nkubira bannayuganda nti bwe tutuukanga mu kulonda bannaye muwulirize abantu bwe baba nga babatuukiridde muwulirize bye boogera ogatte oteeke ku minzaani ogaye nti ono kyayogedde n'ono kyayogedde kiriwo ekinyamba ng'omunnayuganda era kiriwo ekiyamba ffenna mu kitundu nga bannayuganda so that temwejjusa okuba nti munnange mwalonda naye ng'ate mutandise okwemulugunya nti twalonda naye ate tetuyambiddwa omubaka gwe twalonda butanga tumulonda tetuddangamu kubanga tumulaba omwami Musinguzi Patrick amaze okubanga atwegattako agenda kubanga atulamusaako n'oluvannyuma tutandikirawo programu yaffe mu bujjuvu ebibuuzo byatuuse dda byagenda okubanga ate munnange addamu bannayuganda bye babuuziza so tugenda musaba tulamuseeko tutandikirawo programu yaffe ey'olwaleero mu bujjuvu nze omumbejja Luwedde Lilian mu studios ndi ne munnange Rogers Tulyahabwe bwe tugenda okubanga ate tukwasaganya programu ey'olwaleero n'omugenyi waffe omwami Musinguzi Patrick yatwegaseeko dda so ngenda musaba asooka atulamuseeko n'oluvannyuma ate tutandikiraawo ndowooza mwadde mwebuuziza dda mugenyi nga tetumulaba akati yatwegaseeko dda kasooka atulamuseeko tusanyusa okulaba sebo
kale bannange nange nsanyusa okubeera today ku Alternative Digital TV amannya n'eddoboozi nze Patrick Musinguzi ate ndi mutuuze w'eHoima musonyiwe nze muleeterero manyi mu Uganda muno omala okweyanza Katonda ng'otuuse ku destination yo olw'ensonga z'amakubo n'ensonga ezimu eziteewalika naye nga nsanyusa okubeera wano leero.
Okay. Tusanyukidde ddala okulaba ab'eHoima bagamba ki?
Abantu b'eHoima balungi nnyo kati engeri gye tuli mu kaseera kano k'enkuba bali mu kwetegeka okutandika okulima so kana akaseera ffe ngaffe eHoima katukolera nnyo nnyo
nga mu abalunzi n'abalimi
nga ffe abalunzi
naye tusanyusa okulaba. I'll be using English. I am not so fluent with Luganda. You seem to be okay with that, so tujja kuba tukuba kasavu kanyama so that we don't leave some people behind. We welcome you today. You come from Bugahia constituency,
Bugahia constituency,
and you happen to have contested in the previous elections.
Yes, please.
How was it? How was the contestation and all that?
I should say it was fine, though with the NRM elections, they told you there were always a lot of hiccups.
Primary elections.
Primary elections, yeah. But the general election went well. Only issues were in the NRM elections.
So you stopped at the primary?
I stopped at the primary.
Because you and one of the contestants who went through were both NRM.
We are both NRM, yeah.
We have had an issue of political monetization in Uganda.
Yes.
And you happen to have contested with a gentleman who was also coming from the same party. How was the money issue in that whole period?
Well, this is a problem now in Uganda, and we need to solve this because now money is determining leadership.
Yes,
actually, as we speak. So it's a serious problem, and I witnessed it in that election. Not only in that election, but it's now a serious problem. And I think I had a very, very big problem with it.
Okay.
Because now you get leadership, you get people to come to leadership determined by money and not really the issues they have fronted to the people, and it's a serious problem. Yeah.
And we're looking at that same issue, because ordinarily, since you are both in the NRM, we have, well, personally, I have some number of issues I have. Yes. Not with the party as one, but certainly with the way certain things are run.
Yes.
So we have had you and the same person running from the same party, and we have also had this common voice of I probably would have went through, but the elections were tampered with. Was it the same case in the primaries? Were those happening in primaries?
It was the same case, and actually I think NRM as a party, they should not repeat this same mistake again, because this election of these primaries of lining up and everything, to me it cannot work.
But it seems like a transparent way of, because ordinarily we have this,
but you see, Kastok combining money with that kind of definitely, because you see, at the end of the day, someone you over 2,000 shillings. Someone want to see you. That's the way you can account for the 2,000 shillings. So I don't think it will work.
Munnayuganda kulaba yali suubidde nti ekibiina kya NRM oba oliawo si kyekibiina ekyalibadde mu mivuyo gino egya kamyufu, because kyekibiina ekiri mu buyinza ate kyekimu ku bibiina ebiruddewo ng'oggyeko Democratic Party. So bwe tuba nga tulaba obuvuyo buno mu kibiina, what picture does it paint ku bibiina ebirala oba oliawo ne ku ggwanga lino tutwaliza wamu?
Well, member of NRM, ngafa abayingira mu politics, twandisuubidde if we want to take this country forward, waliwo emivuyo egimu nga tekisobola kuba nga happening as of now, ng'ensonga ng'eyo okulaba nti abantu teberondedde omuntu gwe baagala because of mivuyo and all that. So this is a very big issue, and as NRM, I think we need to look into it. Otherwise, we are looking at a party that will stay behind and Ugandans move forward.
Indeed. Yeah. So, mu previous election, kusinzira bwe wakalaba ne bwe katambula, was it a free and fair election?
Depending on which level, presidential, parliamentary,
all levels.
At presidential level, where there's a lot to be done.
What do you mean by there's a lot to be done? Sorry, there's a lot to be done.
It's the military that is engaging much in these elections. It brings some question marks.
But it's the same party that usually says that we have security, we have provided security, and for that matter, people should be protected as they vote. So,
I've seen in countries where there is no military and elections go on well. And Ugandans are very disciplined people. I don't think basobola okuletawo emivuyo if there is a free and a fair and a genuine election. Yeah.
So the manning of the army and the security is an implication of something behind the scenes.
Definitely, because you see, when we're talking about vote rigging, there's a lot involved. Rigging might not be on the ballot, on the box, depending on how the process was started and how it ends. That's how you determine a free and a fair election.
So this wasn't a free and fair election to you?
To me, I would say we have a lot to be done when it comes to conducting a free and fair election.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, kakiiko k'ebyokulonda kalina okubanga kongera mu maanyi.
I think before you do the kakiiko k'ebyokulonda, we also need to do the identification of where the problem might have been. Do you think the problem was with the Electoral Commission? Was it with the process of the elections? Was it just the security? Was it a leadership question? What do you think the problem was?
I think Electoral Commission has done its part. To me, I think even the powers that it has have been, exactly something like that. Electoral Commission ekoze omulimu gwayo. I would think that, but amanyi gaina constitutionally tekola ki tegakozesa. And you find now, you know, it combines with the level of impunity that we have. Even the powers that the Electoral Commission has to conduct a free and fair election, it does not.
You subscribe to the NRM,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
That's true. And you intend to come again for to aspire. You're still going to aspire for Bugahia constituency, right?
We shall determine that in 2020.
But you have the intentions of coming.
The intentions are
of running again.
Yes.
I have not generally across Uganda. I have not seen NRM cadres objectively talk about the level of impunity in Uganda. How do you see your stakes, especially given you know how things work in this country? How do you look at the stakes of winning, especially when you stand to the truth and say that this is happening and it is wrong? And sometimes people have said specifically those issues have somehow in some way been marginalized to the side. How do you look at your stakes in that direction?
Because you see, I like the saying of General Muntu. He always says country before self.
Yes, that's right.
And if we are looking at taking Uganda forward, there are things we must come clear. And this is if we do not improve on this and this, we are looking at whereby the country will move forward and the party will stay behind. How is that going to happen? People will push us out of power, because of those issues that we seem to have, you know, to be susiza maso and that yes, exactly.
And there are the things that affect common Ugandans.
And the things that affect common Ugandans.
Okay,
because at the end of the day, for me, I'm fighting for NRM to stay in power.
Okay.
But how does NRM stay in power? Is by solving problems that affect common Ugandans, and Ugandans will keep, you know, pushing us into, you know, maintaining us in power.
Abamu ebirimu abannayuganda tebibaluma because wotunulira ensonga ezimu ezi-affecting abannayuganda okuba nti ate abantu abamu bo tebabiraba oba babisuusuubya kireeta questions in their minds ne beebuuza nti waliwo banna NRM abalaba ebibi ne batabyogerako oba oliawo ne babitwala nti there are things that ebyafuuka ekitundu ku bulamu bwaffe.
I think nze njagala gamba maybe ndi different from some of those members of NRM kubanga if you're not fronting selfish interests, then definitely olina okuvaayo ng'oyogera ebintu ebiruma bannayugandans.
We have had the same issue of most people, especially when before they get to parliament. They actually have the interests of common Ugandans at heart.
Yes.
Somehow cards turn around when we get into those seats. We will talk about a number of those, and you have those same intentions. We want to believe that Ugandans will be benefiting, especially those from Bugahia County, from your aspirations as you want to lead them.
Yes.
We are going to go in for a short commercial break. When we come back, we also want to talk about the level of impunity and the fact that Ugandans can actually get NRM out of power. If they don't do the interests of the people. We want to look at that, especially in comparison with the 10-point programs. That goes to the question of democracy, which is your first point in the 10-point program. So we want Ugandans to understand that this is where we want to go. This is the intentions of the NRM, and this is how far I've moved. Because I personally have a lot of questions, especially in regards to the 10-point programs and where we are in the trajectory that we're on. But let's go in for a short commercial break. My name is Roger Suriawe. In the second hour, this gentleman will be answering your questions. You should be able to call in live. The studio lines will be read to you, and then you'll be able to also go to the social media handles and ask your questions, and they will be addressed right away. My name is Roger. Let's go in for a short commercial break.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Nze omubejjaluwedde Lilian mbaniriza maka gaffe amajja era nga wano tugenda okuba nga tukolera programu yaffe emanyiddwa nga The Voltage. The Voltage gaba masanyalaze gennyini era nga twogera ku bintu ebyenjawulo omwo nno mwe muli ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga, ensonga z'eby'obufuzi n'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga Uganda, twogera ku nsonga ez'abavubuka, eddembe ly'obuntu awamu n'ebyenkulaakulana. Togisubwa buli lunaku olwokutaano eba ssaawa emu ey'akawungeezi paka ssaawa 3 ez'ekiro.
The Diaspora Link buli lwakuna sawa 11 paka sawa emu ey'olweggulo ye program gye tukuleetedde wano ku Alternative Digital Uganda. Tugenda batutunulira embeera z'Abannayuganda baganda baffe bannyinaffe zibawangaliramu mu mawanga ag'ebunaayira. Bangi banyigirizibwa, bangi bakosebwa, bangi bayisiddwamu amaaso. Naye tugenda batutunulira engeri gye tusobola okulongosaamu embeera zaabwe. Tugenda kuba tulaba abo abakwatibwako abateekeddwa okuba nga balongoosa embeera zino eno. Tosubwa buli lwakuna n'omuweerezaawo Nixon Segawa.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdulatif and I welcome you to the Hotline Show here at the Alternative Dig Talk as we discuss issues of national importance. Join us every Monday 7 to 9 p.m. and see who will be occupying these seats here with us. Keep it Dig Talk, real issues, real talk.
Schools are open. Parents, guardians, have you prepared your adolescents that are pregnant and mothers for school? The government has given us national guidelines to assist with the responsibility of sending these girls back to school. Let us help to provide them with a safe, productive and friendly environment for their learning. They are still our children living among us in our communities. Their pregnancies, becoming mothers before adulthood, affects them, their community and our nation. All children have a right to education. Now, let's take them back to school because completing their primary and secondary school education is very important to their future careers, personal development and being productive citizens of our nation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Sports, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Kulika yenye mukumula mwako the Mighty Drive ya program Johnny Mukulaba nze omubejjaluwedde Lilian awamu ne munnange Rogers tuli habwe era nga tulina omwami Musinguzi Patrick ono nava mu kibiina ekya NRM. Ssaawa yaffe esoose tugikomekereza era nga tukyagenda mu maaso tuli mu ssaawa yaffe ey'okubiri, so osobola otukubirako mu studios butereevu n'obuuza ekibuuzo ate mukulu ono n'abeera nga akuddamu ebibuuzo already weebiri. Waliwo wano ya comment nze naga nti asaaga tujja mulinda ne
munange ndozo kulinda kwawedde omwami ono yamaze ati nabeera nga twegattako tukyali ku Mighty Drive era nga osobola okuba nga otukubirako mu studios butereevu n'obuuza omwami ono ekibuuzo nabeera nga akuddamu studio lines zaffe MTN eri 0789 017145 0789 017145 ye namba ya MTN. Songa ate Airtel eri 0759132310 0759132310 ye namba ate ya Airtel kuba butereevu obuze ekibuuzo mwami Patrick ajja kubanga ate akuddamu omwami noono ate avayiri eri eHoima era nga yali yesimbyewo erinnya linema okusoma lino Bugahya constituency mu district eYeHoima era nga yali yesimbyewo munnanga ate nga natasobola kubanga ayitamu naye nga ate olwaleero tumwina mu studios ayongera atubuulire ku nteekateeka oba oliawo naye gy'ayina mu kalulu akanaabakazeeko byanaaba asobodde okuba nga ate akola okusobola okulaba nga ate mu kalulu akaddako oba oliawo asobola okuba nga wangula naye kati kansooka enzireyo keebwe mwami Patrick, tufunye ekizibu mu Uganda nti politics ennaku zino ali individualized nti ne bwebeera political party etambulira ku muntu omu bw'abanga yali alina vision y'ekibiina ekyo kitambulira ku muntu omu ne bwe tulaba institutions ezimu nti oli bw'abanga yaweebwa obukulembeze mu okulya institution eyo alabira ddala nga kino kyange nze nnyina okukola decisions zonna zonna ezenkomeredde kitukosa kitya ng'eggwanga ye abaffe kitutwalawa?
Problem eyo ndowooza eri general mu Uganda kutandikira mu business sector. Omuntu omu bw'atandika business nanyini business n'avaawo n'afa sometimes kibeera kiri common that even the businesses collapse.
Yes, that's right.
So I think tulina okukozesa eyo fair example okulaba ngaffe abali mu byobufuzi kibeera kibi nnyo okufokasinga ku muntu omu nga visionary leka tugambe bwe tutyo. Yes, you can have visions, it's very fine, but you can make make a transition of those visions noziwaako n'omulala n'azitwala ki mu maaso. And it's always what we advise business people, because I'm also a businessman. I wouldn't want my business to collapse.
Because they are beneficiaries.
Yeah, because they are beneficiaries of the business. Yeah? So I think that, for example, kutuyamba politics as well.
do we really realistically look at that? And because now generally the issue happens that when people are there, they feel like this is my time and I have to maximally utilize it. So the interest shift from the people and representation and their representation, their constitutional duty, and it goes to personal. It moves from national to personal. So how do you think we move past that? Because it's not a problem of the president alone. It's a problem of leaders that we have.
Even members of parliament.
Even members of parliament. Yeah. Before you came, we were here with Lydian that MPs, someone will spend a good fortune on, the elections and the process and the campaigning. So when they get to parliament, they feel like the money I have paid is enough. I have paid people to vote for me. And of course, some people are not civically informed. So they don't really look at the problems that come through with being paid. Because then someone feels like, I have given you, it's a quid pro quo. You have given you what you want, you've given me what I want. So there's no one to worry about money. So how do we move past that? How do we make it that when someone goes into the National Assembly, they are a representative of the people, a multitude of the issues that affect the people from the ground, not just themselves being there?
I think it's also a task to the people of the Republic of Uganda to understand that, because the entire problem starts from commercializing politics.
Yes.
Once you commercialize politics, definitely that's the result you get.
But now then it goes back to policies.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
are the people who are in positions to make policies. They could make policies that can regulate the commercialization of politics,
Yes.
which they are not doing, and it's affecting them.
Yes.
And then generally translating to the people. So who is helping who?
It's going to be a task for us, the generations to come, because the current generation, I don't think they can solve that problem. It's passed beyond them now. So, as this generation coming up, we shall deal with it, because we want to see a better Uganda, and a better Uganda must present good leadership. That's why, for me, in my election, much as I wouldn't want to say it, but my budget is very small. I present the ideas, and I leave the rest to the people. Yes, that's what I do.
But there's presenting in this country, there's presenting the ideas, and there's also understanding the reality that is at the ground.
Yes.
I also had the same question that you're choosing of NRM as your party that you want to hold the flag.
Yes.
Was it because of the help they can offer in the election process, the chances you would stand to win the elections, or do you actually believe in the ideology of the NRM, that it is there for the people, so you chose NRM as opposed to the others?
I chose NRM because I feel the ideology of NRM is good. Much as we have not put it in practice. When you look at the principles of NRM, democracy, Pan-Africanism.
That's a good question.
Exactly.
It's a good question on democracy.
Yes. So, as you say, how is democracy?
How do we stand?
How do we stand? That's why I choose NRM.
But now NRM is also the ruling party, which is the leader of basically government business.
Yes.
Now everything that goes in that direction, especially we have seen what has happened over time, is that even what government does, they will attribute it to NRM. You are writing a letter to the president about the Bunyoro University.
Yes.
In the letter that the president wrote at first promising that university, he mentions that NRM has given a number of universities. He mentions Guru, he mentions Kabale, he mentions the Mountains of the Moon that has recently taken over the Bunyoro.
Yes.
He attributes the securing of those resources, of those institutions, to the NRM party. But the NRM party, when we look at their budget, I don't think they're in position to secure those kind of resources. So you will see that the problem is the government is basically running on the whims of a political party. So how do we put it that the government is, the people are impartial when it comes to issues that are affecting the people generally, the leaders? How do we make that happen?
It's good you've talked about that letter the president wrote to Bunyoro concerning Bunyoro University.
Yes.
That letter is written on 24th November, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, last year.
Yeah, and we got to know it, I think, 2 days back. So we want to thank him, because I think this is the region that has been lagging behind in terms of the university. Personally, I've taken the task to write back to the president. I thanked him, but there's an issue he talked about concerning land of the university.
Because he said that he was informed.
He was informed.
That
the land is secured already. So I took the task to write back to the president, asking him to probably indulge in this matter. Show us where that land is, Your Excellency. Because he's talking about a budget of 2022, 2024. 2023. Yeah. That is almost,
which is beginning
a few months from now. So unless if you want to build a university on Mars or water, because anything is possible for as long as we have the land. And as a stakeholder, I'm interested to attract investors. So that's why I took up that task. And hopefully, I will have a response from him.
But he also mentions that he was informed.
He was informed.
That the land was secured. So apparently the informants are from the area itself.
True.
Because, so wouldn't the inquiry be to the people who informed the president that the land is there?
Actually, before drafting that letter to the president and copying all the ministries in charge, I asked that question to the committee in charge, because my interest is the university comes with a lot of development, and as a region we are very, very grateful for that. But how do we attract investors who don't know where the location will be?
Yes.
And I did not get the answer for that. That's what forced me to write to the president.
So the issue was basically administrative.
It is.
Or are they just skeptical of your intentions? Since you are, apparently some of them are NRM and also NRM. But there is also a candidate who is an NRM candidate.
True.
So your intentions could be, not just for the good of the people and the intentions of the university, but the people are saying you're lobbying for 2026. So,
well, unless if there is no selfish interest involved here, why wouldn't the committee show the stakeholders, and we are the stakeholders, where the land will be, and where the university will be constructed? You get it? But away from that is it's NRM in power. So I think the letter of the president indicating that the NRM is doing this, giving out university to every region and everything. Yeah, it's NRM government in power. So I think that's very okay.
and he attributes it to NRM.
Yes. It's an achievement of NRM.
Is it an achievement? Okay, as one that is in government. But I would say that it is government resources that are securing those institutions, not NRM. So at the end of the day, we will see that an industry will come up and they will say, NRM did that. Something else will come up and will say, NRM did that. So when do we draw a line between NRM and the government?
Because we want to say NRM party in power for a long time, like the parties like Chama Cha Mapinduzi in Tanzania and all that. So we want these achievements to move forward, to indicate that yes, this achievement was done by NRM party. And I think, to me, I have no problem with that. Yes.
Okay. A number of people probably share.
So tutwale nti NRM ne government muntu omu.
Muntu ali muntu omu. And until then, another party will jump power na yija kwa.
Kati abali mu government ngasiba NRM. Bayina achievement yabo.
Well, unless because they have public servants who are in government, and they, I don't think they must subscribe to NRM. I don't think so.
Do they achieve anything, since everything is an achievement of NRM?
They make their contributions and the party.
I wanted to I had particular interests in the 10-point programs, because that's where the NRM business basically runs. Now, NRM business looks at, I looked at some particular points. One being democracy, which is point one, which has a lot of questions, because democracy means the institutions are independent, the people are at the center of decision making, and the implementation of those, which I don't know if you'd agree that majority of what has happened is not actually people-centered. Decisions are made depending on the interests of certain people, not all people. So how I was asking Lydia the same question, how do we go to that? Because we have now policies that are being passed, most of which are not in the interests of the people. The people are not consulted. We also have a constitution that says the power belongs to the people. Do we really respect that? Is that what is happening in this country? Do you think we are going in a wrong direction? And especially now as an NRM cadre and looking at democracy being one of the points, how do we make it work?
To me, I think we must practice what we preach. If we want to move forward with this country, those principles must be practiced in the right way. For example, now, as you said, democracy. I think we talked about this one that if all signs indicate that we are lacking democratic principles that govern a nation, then we put a question mark on our party. That is this party really able to move this country forward? For example, now, there is a new constitution amendment.
Yes.
Which is in line.
The one in the corridors.
For me, I would say, well, I've seen it in media. But as we know, many things start like that, and all of a sudden, we find them on the floor of Parliament. We should consult the people of this country, if we to make such amendments. And if we go on to use force, and that's what my Secretary General said, people will put us out of power, and then that will be another transition.
So kulonda kugenda kudda mu Parliament.
Yes.
Okay, tebinakyuka. Naye okulonda kwagala kudda mu Parliament. So
nsuubira NRM ejja kujja consulting abantu. Nze kyengi suubiramu.
Bw'osuubira bwetutyo bwe twali ku age limit. The people will be consulted. Apparently there was a cover-up of the consultation, which widely was said that people did not actually get consulted and they did not consent. But the bill was passed nevertheless. I mean, the law was scrapped. So, is the consultation of the people really happening? Does it happen? Or do we put up a show and go ahead?
As a party, I think we are looking at one individual that is supposed to move this country forward. That's why some of these amendments are passed like that. But if they were for the good interest of Ugandans, I'm sure they would. For example, now, there is the other amendment, age limit actually, that passed.
Yeah, so term limits.
And it's on record now that an institution which is supposed to be independent was attacked, and that is on record. And that affects NRM as our party. So, if we go on to pass bills in such a manner, then we shall see what happens next.
So semateeka tulina semateeka mu Uganda oba olyawo yali badde etulungamya ku biki bye tulina okukola n'engeri oba olyawo gye tulina otambuzaamu eggwanga tukitwale nti semateeka kati tekyayamba bannayuganda buli eyamba muntu omu.
Essaawa zino bannayuganda balaba nga semateeka takyabayamba apart from eyamba ng'erina ekintu kyeyisaawo ekirungi ekitukolera nga ffe abali mu gavumenti ate teyamba ng'erina ekintu ekirina okukolebwa nga kiyamba bannayuganda
nekiba tekiri in the interest of the party.
Nekiba tekiri in the interest of the party. So bannayuganda balaba nti semateeka twagisuula wabweru tuli mu kukola nga ki. Exactly. But I want to inform Ugandans that NRM moving forward will be a good party.
But so basically, at the 10-point program, you would agree that on the first point, this party has actually failed. Would you agree?
On the
point of democracy, which is your first point?
When it comes to Pan-Africanism, I think the president has done a very good job.
Pan-Africanism is not an enclave of Uganda. We want to look at democracy as it stands in Uganda for one.
Because you see, Pan-Africanism, it's for the interest of Ugandans in terms of creating the market for our goods and services, for our goods and everything. Our agricultural products, for example, me as umuntu eHoima, we are into agriculture. How do we move our products beyond Uganda, beyond Ugandan market? So that one is working for us. His efforts for the East African community and you know everything, creating a common market. Those are very good ideas, and that one is working. When it comes to patriotism, we cannot talk about patriotism as NRM with this level of impunity and corruption. And that we deviate from talking about patriotism automatically. Yes. So that field we need a lot to be done. Yeah. Of recent there was a UPDF who shot a police officer. Yes. Is that patriotism really?
It is not.
Because people were supposed to practice patriotism in the first place. They are the people in security. Yes.
Bali waggulu wa mateeka.
Yes, aba UPDF and everything. They were not kutandika okutulaga. How do you love your country? But if you go on shooting each other, definitely we cannot talk about patriotism at this point.
So you see, the patriotism is one thing, and it's a construct of how we put to use what we have, and how we look at the interests of the people as opposed to personal. That is basically fading in today's leadership, and not just the leading party. It's across the spectrum. It's something that is really a problem. We have seen, you mentioned NRM being moving forward going to be a good party. So before, I think around independence period, we had about, is it 17 districts or thereabouts? Now we have about 146. We have seen a lot of resources being wasted on the administration. That has been a general problem. That you find the administration is even taking more money than a certain ministry sector that should be helping the people. So moving forward, how do you think we can, especially since you're NRM, that the NRM party can put in line the issue of administration and administration spending and the issues of the people that are sector-based? We have the interest payments, we have loans. Right now, Uganda stands at 66 trillion Uganda shillings. As of 2020, Uganda lost about 20 trillion to corruption. Yes. 2021 rather.
20 trillion.
That was a report from the IGG. So we have a lot of those issues happening within government. And we have this party leading. How do we put it on trajectory and make sure that the intentions that NRM had, the vision that it had coming to power in 1986, the 1996, when people were giving mandate for the first time, the NRM seems visionary and pro-people, and the people were for it. But now it seems to have moved. How do we get back to that line and make it for the people?
I think as a party, we need to begin looking at moving away from individual interest now and concentrate on Ugandans. Of course, you understand what I mean there. You've talked about the corruption and how much is lost, and the debt burden as it stands right now, close to 66 trillion, and how much is stolen. It is very true, and that is affecting the service delivery. And to me, I think we shall do better.
Speaking of doing better, around 1999, when Museveni said that part of the problem that we have and one that is going to stall the development and growth of the country is the administration spending. So he cut the civil servants from, there were about 320,000, he cut them by 170,000.
But
now it has multiplied like tenfold.
I'm actually going to use some data of my good friend Andrew Mwenda. When you look at the administrative amount of money that goes into administrative vis-a-vis our budget, it's just 1% almost. It's just 1% of the budget.
1% goes to the administration?
Yes.
Does it? Only 1%?
It's close to 1%.
I want to see. I want
it's just 1%. Okay.
Generally, you see, there's local government. There's some lower local government. Generally, across the local government, lower local government spend about 100 billion at the very least. Yeah.
Yes.
So 100 billion. We want to. I don't want to put it on the general budget of the annual of the year financial year.
Yes.
But if that is happening in let's say one region of the country, moving across, don't you think the administration is taking too much money that would have gone to some other constructive projects that would move the people and the country ahead?
It depends on which administrative offices you're talking about.
Generally, administration districts are being made every now and then. We are birthing new districts, and districts come with administration from up to the ground level. That is all administration.
But so, the population of Uganda is increasing now.
It is, yes, that's
yes. So how do you deliver services without, you know? I think the cost of administration is still low.
It is not, okay.
We should also just look at we should look at how much goes into corruption. That's what we should look at.
And but now the number ya babaka ba parliament jetuyina sawa zino tulina over 529 MPs mu parliament and sente ezibasasanyizibwako sente empitirivu walaba ne sente zibali babawadde ez'emmotoka nazo sente empitirivu oba oliawo sente zetu spending ku administration nyingi nnyo zaali badde zirinako ebintu ebirala byezikola because otunuulira embeera amasomero gye galimu agakaggulawo oba oliawo n'amalwaliro mu COVID-19.
Members of parliament, actually sente z'aba members of parliament is still again ngotunuulira ku our budget nze nkyagamba sente ezo ntono, but look at how much money we spend on the president. That's what how much daily it is what has a question mark to me, and to me it should reduce. That money should reduce.
Mutulako nga ng'ekibiina kya NRM ne mugezaako okwogera ku nsonga nga zino oba oliawo ne mulaba engeri gye muyinza okutemamu empenda ku biki ebiyinza okukolebwa because nga bw'oyogedde sente ezisipendingwa ku mukulembeze w'eggwanga sente mpitirivu.
It's on my in my opinion sinatuka kufuna capacity tuula with members of NRM in highest offices to discuss this, but in my opinion we are spending a lot of money on the president and our level of spending. Office of the president is taking a lot of money.
Also to mention that 25% of Ugandans live below the poverty line.
Exactly. So, about members of parliament, kasente kaba members of parliament, it is still very little money comparing to the budget of this country. But sente is spending mu bintu ebitayina. Yes. Yes. Because we need them to legislate. Pressure this country is increasing. The constitution is how negamba each member of parliament is supposed to have a constituency is supposed to have how many people? Close to 100, something of the sort.
100,000
something, yes, exactly, per constituency. So because of the population, I'm telling you, for example, in the Bugaya constituency we have over 6 sub-counties, but they are big. Very, very big. Actually, we are lobbying for government to make sure, and as I'm requesting the Speaker of Parliament to grant us Kabale municipality, such that it can.
So you actually want to also have another break away from Bugashi?
Yes, because now the other it will be a municipality, independent one. We are looking at the airport there, and people need services there. So. Members of parliament are to for now.
Naye bw'otunuulira amawanga agatwetoolodde Tanzania ne Kenya ababaka be balina aba parliament I don't think bawera n'ebitaano. I think bali mu range ya 300-200 wakati awo. Bw'otunuulira ennamba y'aba ministers be balina I think oba one has 25 and the other one has 23. Naye mu Uganda tulina aba ministers abasoba mu 8 n'ababaka 529.
Abakanga we nagambye teeka bwe ligamba omubaka ino kubeera mu constituency gaina
the problem is teeka because
teeka we naye bw'otunulira engeri gye tusaasaanyaamu ensaasanya yaffe ng'eggwanga ate nga eggwanga lyaffe likyakula bukuzi mu nsonga y'ebyenfuna tuli mu kwewola wano na wali buli kaseera tuli mu kwewola wano na wali oba oliawo twali tunuulidde ensonga nga zino because our debt burden yeeyongerako buli kaseera ogenda okulya twewoze zino kukola kino twewoze zino kukola kiri.
I want to add on that same issue. Kuchogamba nti we need constituencies, and that is the law. India is one of the countries in the world with the biggest population.
Yeah.
Do you know that their parliament is smaller than Uganda's? So
how many members of parliament in India?
Yeah, I'm not confident, but it's smaller than Uganda's. So do we really attribute the creation of more administrative units, more districts, more constituencies to the necessity of having them, or because it is towards one direction of we want more MPs, we want them? Because now, especially now the party, someone would argue that with time, it might lose popularity. Now, creation of more administrative units means there are enough people to keep it in power. So is it really on the basis of necessity that the people need those, or is it in the interests of the leaders themselves, not the people?
To me, I think it is people need. We need these members of parliament.
Why?
Because I've been in this, and I understand what it means to represent a constituency which is big, with over, you understand? So that's how the system has been created. And for example now, when you look at the health sector, take an example. The system is created that it is members of parliament to buy ambulance now.
Is it a system?
But this is a system. But much as it is, if for example, we create a good budget for the health sector, yeah, and we make sure that the health environment of our people is good in terms of drugs, in terms of ambulances, in terms of everything, you understand? But now we are giving this task to members of parliament.
Is it that way?
Bamemba kyebakozesa okukonvinsinga abantu mu kitundu ekyo okuba nti babalonda, because bannayuganda bw'alaba ng'omubaka we taleese ambulance oba oli awo tajja mu wakalu.
Ndi very very happy okubeera member of parliament nezitakwata sente zange kugula ambulance, but if I see abantu baffe nga babonaabona, because as I said the system bwetyo bweri, then kikukakatako nga member of parliament. Actually some of them go for loans okulabanga, because baba baagala services zituuke ku bantu. Nga bwe nagambye, that is the system how it is created. Okiraba. So I don't think nti kiri mu interest ya party okubana with many members of parliament. Sisuubira, unless maybe there is another hidden agenda I don't know about. We are just creating an environment where, or a system where people, we can reach to the people and
services
zibatuukako.
Okay, nzijukira I think yali COVID-19 eyasooka, bannayuganda bawaayo eri government ne bawayo ne ambulances ez'enjawulo. Mu kwekalakaasa kw'abasawo omwaka ogwedde, omwami omu yategeeza nti baatuwa ambulances naye nazo tetuziraba. Actually zaali zirina okubeera ambulances zaafuuka mmotoka z'aba RDCs mu bitundu eby'enjawulo. So ne weebuuza nti kati eggwanga lyaffe, because eggwanga lyaffe liragawa, ensonga y'ebyobulamu tekyasoosowazibwa oba tekyateekebwa ku mwanjo, ekividdeko okuba nti n'abasawo abamu abasoma obusawo mu Uganda bafuluma eggwanga ne bagenda ebweru okusobola okulaba nti banoonya ssente nga baleese eggwanga lyabwe waneeno oba nga baleese bannayuganda waneeno. So kino tukikyusa tutya?
Nze actually nali ku forefront supporting abasawo to proceed n'okwekalakaasa kwabwe, because ndi omu ku bantu abagamba nti sector eyeetaagamu amaanyi, the first sector is health, then ebirala ebikola ki ebiddirira. And I'm happy mu kwekalakaasa kwabwe kwavaamu ki results. Naye nga bw'ogambye nti the impunity level yetuleetedde ebintu ng'ebyo, nti tutuuse mu ggwanga whereby omuntu akola ekintu nga tasuubira ekibi ekinaakivaamu. Kati ng'oli n'akwata ambulance, an ambulance, a vehicle meant to transport patients, n'agizaawa mu kukola ebibye. actually abamu n'agitwala ne mu farm. So this is a governance problem. As an individual, I don't think what needs to be done has been done, or they will do it, I don't know. But it is a governance problem.
Sente z'emyoga, operation wealth creation, bina bino bizzi.
Bugaya constituency, actually nabadde ku Kabale sub-county, gyensabyewo ekitiibwa speaker kati tugifuule municipality. Tewaliyo beneficiary ow'emyoga. As we speak, tewaliyo beneficiary ow'emyoga. Sente gye zaalaga tetumanyi. But because I cannot represent those people, to dig deeper to understand the problem. So
sente ezibulankanyizibwa mu bintu nga bino gavumenti begezaako okuteekawo okulaba nti bannayuganda bejja mu bwavu sente empitirivu. Mwami Rogers ayogedde ku survey yakolebwa IGG last year ku sente ezigenda oba ezitamanyiddwako mayitire sente empitirivu ennyo trillions 20. Naye ate bwe yali omukulembeze w'eggwanga bwe yali ayogera ku nsonga eno yavaayo n'alaga nti alinga protectinga abantu abakola ebintu nga bino. Eggwanga tunaasobola tutya okueliminatinga corruption ng'emu ku 10-point programs NRM zeyina ng'ate abantu bano bali protected by the president.
Statement ya president eyo actually ndi omu ku bantu abagiwakanya statement eyo bwe tuba nga tugezaako okulwanyisa obuli bw'enguzi ate n'avaayo n'agamba nti abantu yalinga agamba nti tubaleke. It is okay to steal as long as they don't take the money out. But this is affecting our people in terms of service delivery. Kena Mudwaliro, I was when you look at an entire sub-county, we have 2 sub-counties on the river side, the lake side. We have Kabale and Buseruka side, but Kabale sub-county is almost sharing a hospital with the Buseruka sub-county, and it takes kilometers away. It's sharing a school. You understand? So amalwaliro gokka I was during my campaign waliwo eddwaliro linatuukamu in my sub county nga n'emifaliso giriko what envunyu tuzitale something like that, and I was forced to buy mattresses as an individual, not because I have a lot of money, no, but I was forced to do so. So if the president comes out and makes such a statement, it disturbs me very much, because we are not going to survive on hotels being constructed here. My health, your health will not survive on the hotel. Definitely not. If you lack a drug, will you go to a hotel?
Sleep in a hotel
and you recover? So really, to me, it is very unfortunate.
No, that's a question that goes back to priorities that we have in the country. The health sector in the 2022 budget had 2.7 trillion. The security sector had 4.2 trillion. Now, I wonder which of the two is really needs more interests of the people, because which one of the two do people really
health has had how much?
It has 2.7.
2.7 trillion.
Security had 4.6 actually, not 4.2.
Yes.
If
actually, it was doubled.
Yes.
Okusinzira ku statement ya from last year, it was doubled.
Later.
Yeah. No, yali doubled okuva ku ya 2021. Sorry, 2021.
So you see that priorities are changing. I'll even go through for the rest of the one. We have interest payment, because of the loans that we get every now and then. It was on $12 trillion. Trillion Uganda shillings. Education had 3.7. Education where
on the loans.
Yeah, the one on the loans was 12.7 trillion. That is a payment of the interests. Interests not paying the loans.
Not paying the loans.
The interests of the loans. So the loans are still actually there. We are still touching the interests for now. Education had 3.7, health had 2.7, water had 1.7, water and environment. We are looking, one of the 10-point program is that people are sustainable enough, social services, building an independent, self-sustaining national economy, and restoration and improvement of social services is your 0.6. Now we have one of the restoration of social services being those that has only 1.7, and then we have water and transport being 5.9. I mean, works, not water, works and transport 5.9. We have agriculture that has 1.3. Agriculture is a backbone of this country.
Agriculture 1.3.
Yes.
Talk about that one, yeah.
It's a backbone of this country. It's where a majority of Ugandans get their day-to-day living. People take to their children to school because of their produces that they get. The market is not there. The budget allocation is not remotely in favor of the agriculture sector. So you look at all these things and you wonder, local government has had 1.9 trillion. The GCH had only about 600 billion. That's a whole arm of government. It had about 600, ICT 162 billion.
The legislature 600 billion comparing to the budget, I think that's around 2%.
Basically. So you look at the trade and that. Now the things that are basically driving the economy are two. Uganda's, it's industry and agriculture. Now industry had 165 billion. Trade and industry as a whole. Now you see that those are the driving force of this country. But priorities are not on them. So it means priorities, if the priorities are not on those that grow the people are not really looked at. So how do we put this back in line? How do we make sure that even when we go to allocation of resources, it is entirely in the interest of the people, other than looking at security, giving it 4 trillion, and trade and industry that is leading the people to growth is giving billions, only 100 in fact.
Someone will tell you that security needs that budget.
Why?
But to me, I don't think. Because an achievement of NRM right now is peace in the country. And that has been achieved.
Yeah, to some extent.
Yes. So if that has been achieved, why are we dwelling much on allocating resources on an achievement? Why don't we put efforts on something we have not achieved? For example, a backbone of this country, that's agriculture, and you allocated 1.3 billion. You understand? Was it 1.3 trillion? Yes. It beats my understanding, and to me, that's where we need to go back to the drawing table and know the priorities of this country. If we need to do socio-economic transformation, and we know the backbone is agriculture, why do we allocate money to security that is bringing no return on investment currently? Because it has been achieved. Yes. So let's focus on what brings return on investment. Because once you focus on that, it means we are going to get money that is going to pay the debt burden we are having currently actually right now.
Won't need to be borrowing
and we won't need to be borrowing over and over. When you look at the economy right now, to me, it's in crisis. It's in crisis.
Actually, we are surviving on donations.
And we are surviving on donations. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, the way you see the trend moving, it indicates that we might actually reach a point and we start to borrow every day. And right now, the way I see, based on the members of parliament, the information they give us, is that almost every plenary, they are seeing what? Loan requests coming up. So where are we taking the country? And who is going to pay these loans?
The Ministry of Health
they are Ugandans. Yes.
Ministry of Health nayo yasaba loan. Sorry, bali benda sente ze beetaga okusobola okulaba nti ministry nekola emirimu gyayo.
Ministry of Health during COVID-19 has disappointed Ugandans, and I don't think they need to ask for a loan anymore. Because during actually the second lockdown, I think, when the pandemic was very, very serious, yes, we reached a point for government hospitals to lack oxygen, and many people died because of that.
So
why? So
where is the problem? Because when we look at all that, we had the president ordering
it is a priority problem.
The minister say to secure beds for the people. And then they secured, was it supposed to be for the 2,000?
Yes.
They secured the
3,000.
and that went unattended to. The president even didn't talk about that because ordinarily that's mismanagement generally. And some people are calling out the minister who even resigned.
And then we also had the minister Yagula Zali Mese.
I looked at the president's statement with the minister and I asked myself, who is powerful over the earth now? If you cannot implement a directive of the president, and also the president moves on as business as normal,
and business as usual.
And actually goes ahead to renew the contract of the same minister, so it beats my understanding now.
So, do you think the problem generally that we have is with the top management? Is it with the president? Is it? Where is the problem exactly, and how would we cure the problem? Because we can't cure the problem unless we know the problem and where it's coming from.
I think the president has done his part.
Has he done?
No. As of now, he has done his part. What we need is for him to create an environment of moving forward as we consult him. You understand? So currently, what we're asking him is, as a party, me as someone who belongs to NRM, I'm just kindly asking President Museveni that please, you have done your part. Leave the generation that can solve the problems that you have not solved. I want to thank him in terms of peace and leading this country for 35 years. It's not an easy job. By the way.
Even growth, we have really moved
yes,
from where we were.
We have moved from where we are, basing on the GDP
that
before
we had,
and now. It's a milestone. But now, moving forward, to me, I don't think the president, the one I love most, is able to move this country beyond 2026. I don't think so. And if it persists, we are going to have a big problem for this country, and the rest, the future will exonerate some of us. Yeah.
I also want to go back to the fact that you subscribe to NRM.
Yeah.
And your manifesto was, this time, was securing the future. Do you really even in the first place believe in that notion? We have because everything that's going on, you mentioned earlier that it is an achievement of the party. But also what is going amiss is also a problem of the party because it's one that leads government business. So is it comparing the achievements and what the other side of the achievements, do you think this party is really securing the future of Ugandans?
NRM as a party, amidst every problems we have, it is securing the future. NRM as a party, but the current leadership does not show sign that it is able to secure the future of Uganda moving forward.
What is the leadership? What is the leadership? Because
Bannayuganda kye bakomplainingako.
Yes.
Bannayuganda kye bakomplainingako ate nga Hoima bagitwala okuba nga ye oil city kati. Naye nga ate namwe mukaaba. Ndalaba Honorable Nyakato ngaga nti kati lita y'amafuta by then yali gwali mutwalo. Yes, by that time yagamba gwali mutwalo. Ndi kati saawa zino Bannayuganda ensonga enkulu gye batunudde ensonga y'amafuta. Kibiddeko kuba nti buli kimu kitandise okulinnya. Hello, the mighty
good morning, abaweereza ono omushabe okuteerwe.
Yes, sir.
I'm just surprised. I can hardly believe that gentleman is of NRM. I had lost hope in NRM having such sober mind. You bakozesa mmere kifitiwaba balabe ebintu ebyo mu ngeri y'enjawulo. Manyi mutera okuba n'omwami omwe bamuyita Kyaguba Note, balina engeri gye bavuyaawo ne babanga ababbira. Kati bw'oba omuweereza wa NRM, oba 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 omuweereza wa NR olabeko omuntu nga bbira nyinza oyo mwewuunyiza simanyi oba kyalina akafo mu NRM naye obwo obwongo busaana eno ate eno gye tuli eno tutambule nakyo tukijjeko tukiwe kubanga eyo gyali ayamushuwa ebyo birowoozo n'abyogerayo eyo bayinza omuleeta sipiidi at a personal level mwewuunyiza for sure. He is not a GMO. This is genetically modified NRM member like that gentleman in hospital. Girjabigwamu nawanika emikono ng'alinga bbira naye kashono nze neewuunyiza era kyobola wantu talina yadde kayero ku mubiri gwe kayambadde kale akuume mwe bali kuweere.
It's a blaze. I won't put it on that. But I think we should just go through some of the comments as we conclude because time doesn't seem to be on our side.
Okay. So Nacho narrator Agambia. So he is trying to mean that USA or India with a smaller parliament has less population compared to Uganda. You mean Uganda is supposed to have more political leaders because its population is higher than America? Why do NRM people not always ashamed of their talks? Morris, brother, Apocalypse Agamba, at this rate that young man is still uttering that that nonsense of securing the future, he sounds confused. What Mwami Morris, what Wagambia? NRM ceased to be visionary to machinery whose main objective is now to feed themselves until they burst. The Kankudi politics. What Mwami Noman Wategeza. Naturally, Nagamba, isn't this a contradiction when Musinguzi says that NRM has the best ideology but poor at implementation, and the same party has been in existence? We went into multi-party dispensation almost 20 years now. If the ruling party with full access to all resources has failed to implement the ideology, when will it ever practice its ideology? And at your age, aren't you ashamed of following old ducks as your leaders?
That is am I not wrong to follow the old ducks? No, I'm not. These old ducks, they have good ideas. I think at our generation now, together kokubabako that the ideas, and if we can get those ideas from them, which are very good, this country will move forward.
So they should stand in the gallery and let you lead.
Exactly. They have very good ideas, but the implementation is the problem.
No, but it has, at one point there were also young people who had the same good ideas with all resources at their disposal, but they have failed to implement all these ideas. What makes you think you will actually implement them?
No, you see, when you take over a country from in 1986 up to now, I don't think really you are in a position to project the country of 2040. Much as you have the ideas, but implementing them will become a problem. Why? The mind is tired, the body is tired.
And the needs of the people
and keep changing. Yes.
That's right.
Morris said that securing the future. Morris, NRM is just helping us to secure this future. But to me, I think we should secure this future at an individual level. But it's just, NRM is just a pipeline.
Well, we have to
Botule wakand, you wait for NRM to secure your future. I think you really njagala kwebaza digital.
And your message to the Mugashe people?
Yes, and njagala kwebaza first, the foremost, the opportunity jimupade kubeera wano today, and hopefully I'll keep getting these opportunities. Then njagala kwebaza abantu ba Bugaya constituency, abantu ba wensinga okubeera ennyo Kabale sub county, wenkolera farming yange eyo, abantu abo bambeererawo nnyo, and I want to thank the President Museveni, what he has done for this country, and all I'm asking him is to show us a direction,
and let us
of
go.
We want to see a peaceful transition. It is what we are looking for. Without that is the only direction we want us to show us.
Thank you so much,
yes,
Mr. Patrick.
Yes, and I request I want also to ask the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament to grant us, people of Kabale, a municipality, because there is a lot of things in Kabale municipality, starting from the airport and everything. People want to see service delivery, and the constituency is quite big now. 6 sub-counties is a lot for a member of parliament, 1 member of parliament to handle. So we're asking the Right Honourable to also look into that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick.
Nga tunaba concludinga olwaleero ku diaspora link tulina omukyala Judith Nakintu era nga ono yagibwamu kidini oba emu ku nsigo ze bwe yali agenze bweru okuba ekyeyo. Ku diaspora link leero segenda kubeera saawa 11 omwami Nixon Praise wagenda kuba waneeno nga amukutuusako omukyalo oyo okwongera okuba nga annyonnyola story ye bwe yatambula bamugyamu batya ensigo oba oliawo nga tategedde eri bannayuganda n'eri abantu abali ku mitala w'amayanja basobole okumanya story yono omukyala oba oliawo nate nabo basobole okubaako kye bayigamu. Omukyala agenda kubeera Judith Nakintu era agenda kubeerako ku diaspora link nga annyonnyola emboozi ye na butya bwe bamugyamu emu ku nsigo y'essoto gisubwa saawa 11 ez'akawungeezi era nga wano wengenda okuba nga nsiibulira nze omubejja Lilian mbadde ne Rogers tuli ahabwe bwe tukoze program olwaleero awamu n'omwami Musinguzi Patrick, mukyala Anita Musimeta yali ku camera ate nga mu control room waliyo omukyala Teddy Tenjo wamu n'omwami Jeremiah Mukibi okono kwotadde omwami omukose Arnold Anthony. Saawa 11 tosibwa diaspora link omukyala agenda kubeerawo ng'atunnyonnyola awamu n'omwami Abdallah Kayonde onono wa ED Migrant Workers Voice agenda kuba nga ate naye atunnyonnyola ebisingako ebyo. Mweraba.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.